From NBC News in Washington, this is Meet the Press, moderated today by Tom Brokaw.
On this program about a year ago, you said being a president is 90% circumstances and about 10% agenda. Right. The circumstances now are, as you say, very unpopular in terms of the decisions that have to be made. Which are the most unpopular ones that the country is going to have to deal with?
Well, fortunately, as tough as times are right now, and things are going to get worse before they get better, there is a convergence between circumstances and agenda. I came in saying we had some structural problems that had to be dealt with. A healthcare system that was broken, energy policies that made us dependent on foreign oil and weakened our economy, a tax code that was not working for middle-class families, an education system that was inadequate to make us competitive in the 21st century. And right now, the emergency, the crisis, requires a strong economic recovery plan that pumps demand into the system because credit has collapsed, businesses are pulling back, consumers are pulling back, and so the task for the government is to jumpstart this economy. The key for us is making sure that we jumpstart that economy in a way that doesn't just deal with the short term, doesn't just create jobs immediately, but also puts us on a glide path for long-term sustainable economic growth. And that's why I spoke in my radio address on Saturday about the importance of investing in the largest infrastructure program in roads and bridges and other traditional infrastructure since the building of the federal highway system in the 1950s. Rebuilding our schools and making sure that they are energy efficient. Making sure that we're investing in electronic medical records and other technologies that can drive down healthcare costs. All those things are not only immediate part of an immediate stimulus package to the economy, but they're also down payments on the kind of long-term sustainable growth that we need.
Paulson, welcome back. We last saw you in Beijing. We didn't think we'd have you back under these circumstances quite so quickly. There are a lot of tough questions out there. I know that you're fully aware of that. Let's just take our audience through some of them. This is the biggest financial play in the history of any economy, any time in the world. You're talking about a $500 to $1 trillion bailout of mortgages and mortgage-backed securities. There's no assurance that we'll get anything back from the banks for doing that for them, as the taxpayers won't be protected. The details are still to be filled in. If you were in your old job as chairman of Goldman Sachs and you took this deal to the partners, they'd send you out of the room and say, come back when you've got a lot more answers, wouldn't they?
Tom, I don't look at it that way. This is not something that we wanted to do. This is something that is very necessary. We'd had excesses building up for some time in this country. They played out first in terms of bad lending practices, irresponsible borrowing, irresponsible lending. It then moved a chain reaction into the financial institutions, illiquid assets. That then is played out into the broader economy. Last week, there were times when the capital markets, the credit markets were frozen. American companies weren't able to raise financing. That has very serious consequences. So what we need to do right now is stabilize the markets, and this is for the benefit of the taxpayers who are doing this, the American public. Then once we get behind this and get this stabilized, there's a lot we can talk about in terms of reform.
What would electricity cost in terms of the transition? Well, it's underway. Most estimates are that it would cost a lot more money, and that would have a devastating effect on Main Street and especially on rural America.
Well, I don't agree with that, and I think that the devastating effect on Main Street and the rest of the country is coming from the present rising costs for electricity. And the reason why is China and the other emerging economies, again, are bidding up the price of every lump of coal and every drop of oil. And the new discoveries have been declining, so the estimates are now that these price increases are likely to continue until we stop just taking baby steps and offering gimmicks and instead have a strategic initiative.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.